views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, we'll learn about a discussion forum focusing on immigration, mental health situation concerning LGBTQ and people of color. Then afterwards, we're going to learn more about details with the New Hampshire primary with Associate Editorial Page Editor of the New York Post, Michael Benjamin. Then next, we'll discuss the efforts of an organization providing workshops, support, and training to those suffering from suicidal and emotional distress. And after that, the question is, do you have any plans for this Valentine's Day weekend? Well, the Bronx Beer Hall has got you covered, so stay tuned. We got some more details a little bit later on in the show. And then we're going to learn about plant-based diets and some healthy, delicious plant-based meals. Yes, we're going to get you healthy, so stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello everyone, I'm Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, February 12th, and you're now watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on through the past week. We're going to take you through it with some Bronx updates. With Black History Month in full effect, the month-long celebration honors the accomplishments and milestones of African Americans. However, many individuals do not really understand the reason why the celebration happens in February. Well, Black History Month began as Negro History Week, a label applied by historian Carter G. Woodson in 1926. Woodson was bothered by the fact that many textbooks and other historical reviews minimized or ignored the contributions of black figures. Woodson and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History earmarked the second week in February to raise awareness for these individuals. The week chosen covered the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and on February 12th, Frederick Douglass, on February 14th. And since the death of both individuals, the black community celebrated their contributions to African American liberation and civil rights on their birthdays. With the American Civil Rights Movement and the rise of black consciousness in the 1960s, Negro History Week had become Black History Month. In 1976, President Gerald Ford made Black History Month official, saying he was urging everyone, quote, to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history, end quote. Well, switching gears now, in travel news, on February 6th, the United States Department of Homeland Security said it would no longer let New York residents enroll in its global entry trusted traveler programs because of a new state law which blocks federal immigration officials from accessing motor vehicle records. The New York had passed the green light law last year, allowing New Yorkers over the age of 16 to apply for non-commercial driver's licenses or learner's permits regardless of their citizenship or legal status in the U.S. The law prevents ICE and CBP from accessing information in the state's Department of Motor Vehicles database without a court order or a judicial warrant. New York State officials filed a federal lawsuit on Monday, February the 10th. New York State Attorney General Letitia James said the global entry ban will negatively impact travelers, workers, commerce, and our economy, adding that the state will fight the president's short-sighted crusade against his former home. The federal action bans over 80,000 New Yorkers who have applications pending from getting clearance and will also impact over 175,000 New Yorkers whose global entry memberships expire this year and need to re-enroll. Well, in other news, Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. is celebrating and honoring African American culture and history for this year's Black History Month. Our BronxNet reporter, Ashley Tiffany, was at the Bronx County Courthouse. Brings us our details right now.
Black excellence is celebrated and honored at Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr.'s annual celebration of Black History Month at the Bronx County Courthouse.
We have so many individuals today that are still contributing to Black history, like Carl Hasty, the first speaker of Black descent in the state of New York from the Bronx, Garcelle Clark, and of course all of the honorees that we have here tonight.
Tonight's MC is BronxNet's very own Darissa White.
If you look around the room, you'll see so many Black people who are striving to be leaders in their communities, and they are Black excellence.
Some would say the distinguished figures being honored tonight are not only Black history, but exude Black excellence. Honorees are President of the Brooklyn NAACP and social justice activist L. Joy Williams, hip-hop artist and activist Myson Lennon, and entrepreneur and TV personality Yandy Smith Harris, who is now being recognized for her advocacy and activism towards prison reform.
I was born in Harlem, but the Bronx raised me. So to really come back home and be honored and recognized for the work that I do here, the work that I do in New York City, it's an amazing feeling. You know, and Black history should be every month. Every month, our history needs to be told the right way. I've been given this platform. I need to use it to say something we're talking about. My mom is here today, and she's like, girl, you got all these people following you. You better be talking about something that's worth hearing. And I think it's important to be the voice for the voiceless.
Council member for the 16th District, Vanessa Gibson, says Black History Month is a reminder for her that she is carrying on the legacy of many Black social justice activists.
Their fight was different from our fight. Our fight is less challenging, but it's still challenging today. We have to be the next Sojourner Truth and the next Shirley Chisholm to stand up and bring a folding chair to the table when there is no seat for us at the table.
African Americans are part of a long, proud, profound, and difficult history of the building of the United States and have contributed to all aspects of American history. Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. will continue to honor those who are making a difference in the community. Reporting for BronxNet, Ashley Tiffany.
And thank you, Ashley. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but when we return, we're going to discuss how one organization is helping the LGBTQ people stay tuned.
Praise the Lord. I'm Evangelist Barbara Mayo. I have a program called The Great God. I come on every Saturday at 3:30, channel 70 and 36 on Fios. You need to catch me because it's a program to encourage, to lift up, and if you don't know anybody that haven't heard about the program, tell them about it. They'll be encouraged, for God is good. God bless you.
Well, thank you for staying with us. The Depressed Black Gay Man, also known as DBGM Inc., is an organization that's dedicated to raising awareness on mental health issues and depression concerning LGBTQ people of color. They're holding a discussion forum on focusing on how immigration impacts LGBTQ people of color. And here now to tell us more about the event is the president and CEO of DBGM Inc., Antoine Craigwell, co-director and coordinator of community organizing at the Queer Detainee Empowerment Project, Uche Anwa, and organizer of QDEP, Aniri Zapata. And we welcome you all to the show.
Thank you.
Y'all had me working with a whole lot of letters there, but we made it though. Good to have you guys.
Good to have you. Good to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit, Antoine, about, you've got a forum coming up.
Yes.
And it's really going to discuss some really key issues.
Yes.
And so when it deals with the issues of color, LGBTQ community, and mental illness.
Let's start by looking at the 2019 Trevor Project report that said that while 4 times more white LGBT attempt suicide, twice more people of color LGBT attempt suicide than their white counterparts. And what we want to focus on is looking at mental health as it affects LGBT people of color. So this is part of a series of events that we're doing throughout the city. And we're starting in the Bronx, the first one, looking at immigration. How is immigration affecting LGBTQ people of color mental health? When we stop to consider that there are significant numbers of LGBT people of color in detention centers in Elizabeth and up in Hudson Valley, when we stop to consider there are many transgender people of color who died in custody or who died in detention, and so when we also look at the number of LGBT people of color who are coming to the United States as refugees or to escape persecution in their own home countries because of their sexual orientation and gender identity. And when they come here, they're expecting a certain kind of response, they're expecting a certain kind of acceptance, and they're finding the opposite. So how is it that this affects their mental health?
How does this affect you?
So this is a great topic, and with the work that I do as a co-director of Queer Detainee Empowerment Project, I have seen a lot of effect on mental health of LGBTQ immigrants that are fleeing persecution. So many of them are being held by ICE when they're coming into this country, and they're being put in solitary confinement for months or years, as case may be. We had a client from Honduras, a trans woman from Honduras, who was in solitary confinement for almost 2 years, and she had several suicidal attempts. I myself also is someone that flee my home country, Nigeria, because of the persecution I faced regards to my sexuality and the work I did as an activist back home. I had a lot of high hopes, just like Antoine said, when I was coming to this country, but I met the opposite. Like, I was held by ICE, and I spent months in detention. While I was there several times, I thought about committing suicide. I thought about, signing my deportation. My mental state was destabilized. But with the support of LGBTQ organizations, like the one I work with right now, I was able to get out. And not just getting out, but my mental health also wasn't even stable because I didn't have all the necessary things that I need to survive as an immigrant who don't have family ties or friends in the U.S. So, we have to constantly struggle to be able to fit in the society.
Yeah. And let me bring Neri in. What kind of conversations are we not having that we should be having concerning this?
The fact is that being black colors, I would put in a different situation of the whole society. As a black person of colors, being a migrant, being with a sexual orientation difference, being all at the same time that can have you in a depression or you can know how to handle it with the society. When you get to the country and you have the basic thing for starting a life, and that is the thing that I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Antoine, before we go, tell people about what they can expect if they attend this forum.
Well, what we're going to have is a panel of professionals. So there's going to be an immigration attorney who's also a member of the LGBT people of color community. Tisan Gourmou from Baji, and she's a director of QDEP. There is Steve Welch, who's a mental health professional. He's actually has an office or a location here in the Bronx. And there's Uche, and there's Orlando Ferrand, who is Cuban, who's come to this country from Cuba many years ago. And the panel is going to be moderated by a Dominican, Alice Annabel Santos, and she is a spiritualist, and she's a priestess in one of the African religious traditions. Mm-hmm. But what we are actually doing is we are talking about the issues that are coming together, and it's sponsored by New York City Office of Immigrant Affairs, New York City Human Rights Commission, Thrive NYC, and most importantly by Hostos College.
All right. Well, I got to leave it there, but thank you guys for coming and sharing. I'm giving them some more information on how to get connected, and best wishes with the forum.
Thank you very much for having us.
Oh, good to have you. All righty. Well, I'll tell you, the Immigration and My Mental Health Discussion Forum is taking place Monday, February 24th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Hostos Community College, located at 120 East 149th Street in the D Building, multi-purpose room on the second floor. Now, if you want to find out more information about DBGM and their upcoming events, check out their website at dbgm.org and Facebook at DBGM Inc. Don't go anywhere, because we got more show. When we come back, we're going to learn about the New Hampshire primary. Stay tuned. We're coming up in a few.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, The Essence, here, right on the set of the The Essence Show. Please tune in each and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Files 34, Optimum 68, and live streaming bronxnet.tv. Or you better get in line.
Well, New Hampshire held their primary votes last night with Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders taking the lead, and former Mayor Peter Buttigieg is closing in behind him. Shortly after the polls closed, Democratic candidate Andrew Yang and Michael Bennet dropped out of the presidential race. And joining us now on the phone with more details is Michael Benjamin, associate editorial page editor of the New York Post. Mike, good to have you back.
I'm glad to be on, Daren. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Listen, let's talk about yesterday and the New Hampshire primaries. Any surprises on your end?
Oh, I think the surprise was to Bernie Sanders and not doing as well as he did 4 years ago. I mean, 4 years ago, he stomped all over Hillary Clinton. Last night, he barely got a quarter of the vote to lead Pete Buttigieg by 1 or 2 points. It shows that 3/4 of the New Hampshire Democratic primary voters voted for somebody other than Bernie Sanders. I think that should be a wake-up call to him and to the rest of the party as well.
Mm-hmm. And what can we make of yesterday's results? What is that showing us?
Oh, it shows that the nomination is in flux. No one is coming out of the first caucus of Iowa. This was really piled up with the count. And then coming out of New Hampshire, showing Bernie's, in my view, before showing it, only getting about 25, 26% of the vote. shows it's up in the air. It means Nevada and South Carolina coming in the next couple of weeks will be important. And then you have Super Tuesday in March, which I think will separate, the wheat from the chaff, and we'll see whether or not Bernie can do well in those states. And you have Michael Bloomberg coming in gangbusters in for Super Tuesday. So it's still in flux. I don't think they're the front runner. You have the far left, Bernie Sanders, and you have a number of Democrats that are trying to see themselves as moderate middle that can beat President Trump in a general election.
Talk to me about the Democratic Party. I mean, given the fact we're seeing these results now, should they have heavy concern given the fact that we're seeing these results? A lot of people said that Democrats have lacked a clear message going up against President Trump. How do you handle that argument?
Well, they don't need a clear message. They have to distinguish themselves from each other in order to win, for the party members who vote in the primary and the caucuses to choose a candidate, standard bearer. And then once you get to the convention, you can then decide what you're going to use as your platform to run against President Trump. But right now, it's the decision, are we going to go far left Bernie Sanders, Democratic socialism, or are we going to do the moderate thing that Bill Clinton and Barack Obama have done in previous years as Democratic Party nominees to unite the party to defeat the GOP candidate, in this case, that person being Donald Trump, who has really relished in throwing oil onto burning things. You saw what he did yesterday with the audio tape that was leaked about some of the comments that Michael Bloomberg made in defending stop and frisk. President Trump called him a racist. This is odd coming back. I guess Trump is sort of an expert, so he should know who's the racist.
Yeah, talk to us about that, because you got Michael Bloomberg entering into the race right now, and a lot of people still have questions whether or not he is a viable candidate going forward. Your assessment of Michael Bloomberg, and how much of a chance does he really have?
Well, I think Michael Bloomberg was a successful mayor. I disagree with many of his nanny state policies, like banning, big gulp sodas, that kind of thing. I didn't go for. But I thought he was a very successful mayor and stabilizing the city and helping to drive down crime, making schools somewhat better, being supportive of charter schools, and giving more Black and Hispanic families the education choice. His money makes him a contender. He's saturating the airwaves all across the nation with his name and his policies. And he's also using his opportunity through the media and through his ads to say that he's going to take the fight to Donald Trump. And I think that's what many Democrats are looking for, a moderate who's willing to take the fight to the president. And Michael Bloomberg is trying to cast himself as that person. Should a billionaire try to buy the nomination as he's doing? No, I don't think that should happen. So, no, we'll see how things play out. I mean, he's offered some interesting policies, but hasn't been in a debate yet with the other contenders. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. I mean, he has to apologize to Blacks and Latinos with the stop and frisk policies. Now it got out of hand. We'll see what that does for him. But apparently, he's gaining traction among Black voters in Nevada and South Carolina. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I know we talked about stop and frisk before on the show, but when it comes to the issue of stop and frisk, it doesn't seem like it's enough to keep holding him back. As a matter of fact, as you mentioned, he's gaining traction.
Yeah, he's getting traction, and he's talking about some economic opportunity and things that would be helpful to African Americans and Latinos and low-income people across America. He's talking about the need to tax his class, the wealthy, and tax them a little bit more so the nation can get some programs and priorities taken care of. So he's willing to be sort of like FDR and do the things against the interests of his so-called class and find a way of helping the great middle of America to be able to be more successful than they have been. And so we're looking at the reason I think Bernie is so resonant among young people is that many of them are suffering from underemployment, from the burden of tuition from their years in college, and he's offering free stuff, free health care, free college tuition, suspending their repayments of their college loans. They want free stuff, but they want to get out under the burden. They want to be able to buy a house like their mom and dad and their grandparents did. They don't feel they have that hope. Bernie seems to be the person giving them that kind of hope. Mm-hmm. But hopefully, we'll see what the candidates offer, and we'll see what happens. As I said, 3/4 of New Hampshire voters voted against their next door neighbor, the Vermont Democratic Socialists.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this. I mean, you've got Andrew Yang dropping out of the race, Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado. You still got a couple names left. You got Tom Steyer, Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, and former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick. What do we see happening here?
I think the names folks you mentioned are non-factors. Tulsi Gabbard is not going to get a Democratic nomination. Deval Patrick barely registered in yesterday's New Hampshire primary, even though he's the governor of the state next door in Massachusetts. I don't see him or Tom Steyer's got money, so he'll be in it. He's pressing his campaign against Trump. I think they're going to fall in the next couple of days. I thought I read where Deval Patrick had dropped out this morning, but I think he dropped out this morning, early this morning, and he dropped out, so he's out of it. It's going to come down to the four top winners in New Hampshire and Michael Bloomberg. I think those are the ones you're looking at. I think the person who showed up the worst has been Joe Biden. He is really fallen. South Carolina is going to be his firewall, and you'll be seeing that in the media the next couple of days. He's going to use South Carolina as his firewall to try to stop his decline, and hopefully using black support. Those who remember him as being the Black Barack Obama's loyal vice president may give him some votes. We'll see. I think the reason why Joe Biden has been successful in the past, he's not a person that Americans want to see as president.
Well, we have to leave it there, but certainly we have to bring you back. You'll have to make your argument a little bit longer. Well, I should say a little bit longer next week when we bring you back. All right, well, listen, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to learn about how an organization is addressing the needs of those suffering in silence. Stay tuned. And thanks again to Michael Benjamin. And thank you for staying with us. The Scudder Intervention Services Foundation, Incorporated, is a not-for-profit organization providing education, awareness, and training to address the needs of individuals suffering from suicidal, mental health, and emotional distress. Here now to talk more about it is founder and president of Scudder Intervention Services Foundation, Brett Scudder, and good to have you, Brett.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good. Well, glad to have you. And talking about some really serious issues. I mean, we talk about Valentine's Day, right? Right around the corner. And a lot of people make jokes, but the reality is Valentine's Day is not so rosy for a lot of people.
Yes. It's a high time for emotions. Even some of the people who are celebrating with a loved one, it's still a heightened time of emotion. So can you imagine the ones who are single and seeing all of this going on, who just lost a loved one, who just had a broken heart. Some people are expecting a lot for Valentine's Day and may not get it, may not happen. How do you deal with that emotional pain? How do you deal with the fact that you look forward to something so much and now on the day off, it may never come through? And so when we look at these events, we sometimes never look at the psychological impacts on people. How do people take that? Are they happy? Are they truly happy? Do people really want to celebrate Valentine's Day? Some people just don't want to be involved in all of that because there's so much going on.
And you talk about people suffering in silence, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do suffer in silence. How do we deal with people who are really suffering in silence?
Well, it's a cultural thing, right? We have to change the narrative. The narrative is, if it's weak to cry, it's weak to express emotions, especially for males. And so when you look at suffering in silence, males suffer more because there isn't a society that welcomes an emotional male to talk about that. Females, as soon as they start crying or expressing emotions, they're surrounded by people. So there's a bias when it comes to looking at males versus females and how emotions are addressed. So more males suffer in silence because they don't want to be perceived as weak. They don't want people coming at them saying, man up. And we don't know that pain and suffering that people are feeling, male or female.
Right.
We have 4-year-old children who are suicidal and talking about killing themselves at our centers. 4-year-old children.
4 years old.
4 years old. And we're not talking about that. We're looking at this as an adult or a teenage problem. We got children 4 to 9 years old who are dealing with emotional issues that really are prompting them to feel like they don't want to be here.
Is it the society? Is it the culture? What is it that's prompting people these great thoughts of depression and suicide? Because these numbers are rising, right?
It is a serious issue.
And so, what are we getting to any of the outliers, or what are the causes here?
Social media, technology, the fact that a lot of people are living, a lot of our children are living in homes that are exposed to things that they should not be exposed to. A lot of parents are struggling, not spending enough time with their children, so their children are spending more time on social media. And, you know, a lot of kids today, you know, you see it, a 1-year-old child today has a mobile phone in their hand, right?
Swiping, right.
Swiping and laughing,
Right.
and, you know,
Right.
so the addiction to technology and mobile devices is what's driving a lot of the depression and a lot of the emotional challenges for a lot of people. This heightened idea of needing to fit in because social media requires it, Instagram requires it, we gotta look good, we gotta present this good, you know, this facade like everything is good, while people are hurting behind what they're showing, but they're not expressing that hurt.
Right. You got something up called What's Love Got to Do with It, taking place on February 15th?
Yes, that's an event that I partnered with someone who was a victim of domestic violence, and she wanted to tell her story and do it in a way of doing it as an event. So I helped her to put the event together. There's going to be guest speakers talking about their experiences to break the ice. Valentine's Day is here, and I don't think people really understand the emotional weight that carries. We think people are smiling and people are happy, but it's not. So this event is to highlight domestic and intimate partner violence and how it impacts people with mental and emotional issues.
And some real serious issues that people sometimes just don't talk about. You also got a pop-up shop to talk about, huh?
Yeah, well, listen, there's a lot of events going on that we're focusing on emotional pain. Our organization focuses on emotional wellness. Mental health is stigmatized. You say mental health, people go the other way. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm not crazy. I don't want anybody to think I'm crazy, so they go the other way. You say emotional wellness, I'm willing to have that conversation.
Right.
So using certain words sometimes pushes people away. If we change the wording, if we change the narrative, we can get more people who are suffering and hurting to come forward. Last year, we had over 400 successful suicide attempts that were prevented here in the Bronx through our organization.
400.
Over 400.
Wow.
Right? Those are people you would have never seen, you've never heard of, you would never think that they were suffering like that. But those are people who just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'd rather die. There were so many reasons why they wanted to. And so when you look at an organization like us on the ground doing the work, I'm a suicide attempt survivor. I'm very public and open about my pain and my struggles. And that's why I get a lot of people who gravitate towards me, because they're like, look, Brett, if you can talk so openly and candidly about you being a suicide attempt survivor and thinking about death like that, then maybe I can too.
Right.
And that's a break for that.
So what was the difference maker for you? I mean, you know, you had these thoughts, and all of a sudden now you're thinking differently, you're living differently. What was the difference maker?
I don't think it's so much a difference maker as the fact that I'm trying to make a change. I think that when I was going through my challenges and I sought help from people, and so 95% of the people moved away from me when I came out about my suicidality. So you think about that, and today how we have normalized the conversation that people can really say, okay, I'm feeling depressed. I feel like I don't want to be here anymore. Those subliminal messages, and people be like, okay, what's going on? How are you feeling? What happened? So there is that change, and that's where my life is committed to breaking those stigmas and those myths for people to say, hey, you know, I came to one of your training and listened to how you talk about the experience of what you're going through and how people should engage with someone who is suicidal or depressed or feeling like they don't want to be here anymore.
And you can offer a quick tip for us about dealing with somebody who's suicidal. They have those conversations, we know they go on the phone, at work, wherever. How should a person very quickly approach someone who's got those suicidal thoughts? What should be our conversation?
Not be judgmental. Don't let the first thing come out of your mouth be, hey, you know, everybody loves you, your family loves you, all those different things. Your first question should be, hey, what happened? What's going on? Why are you feeling this way? In an empathetic way, right? That you really want to know what the person is going through, because we really don't know. Let me tell you, we work on thousands of suicide cases every year, and they're never two the same. Never two the same. So you can't approach this like, because someone is suicidal, then I can approach it like I approach the next person.
Right.
You have to approach it on a personalized level. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know what happened to you for you to be in that space, and not be judgmental about it.
Talk about personalized level. Let's talk about GoFundMe for Brett's Home to Heal.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Wow. I didn't even realize that one. So in the last 6 weeks, I found out that I have some very serious health issues. I've been doing this work in the city for 16 years, over 16 years, helping everybody else. So now I found out that I have kidney failure, renal disease. I have a blood condition that is now compromising the fact that I had a post-traumatic injury that now it's just a lot of things have happened with me personally in the last 6 weeks. And I'm just not able to take care of myself as I would have normally, because it's been about 6 months I've not been at work. I've been doing limited work. So, you know, I started that because a lot of friends were like, look, you need help. You've been helping everybody else and everybody comes to you for help. Now you need to let us help you. And so I started it because, yes, I do need that help. I'm now not asking for everybody else. I'm asking for myself. I don't even know how you got that information.
Don't worry. Listen, you're talking to journalists, man. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? We're not going to know something? But it's good to know. And hopefully people can, you know, go to your GoFundMe for your Home to Heal, because you're healing others, right? And we call that, where I come from, wounded healers.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
you're still in the process of getting healed. And so a little help along the way doesn't hurt.
And the sad thing is, when I was talking with the doctors, they're like, look, we can't even do your surgery until you have the appropriate home that you can heal in, because they're operating on my foot. And so I'm on my feet 14 to 16 hours a day. Like I'm on the road, I'm in the trenches. So I need my feet for me to be effective in the work that I do. And so I'm pushing through, brother. I'm pushing through.
We're going to push you a little bit further.
Oh, thank
all right?
you, thank you.
Brett, good to have you. We're going to bring it back
Thank you.
too, okay?
Thank you.
Brett
Thank
Scudder
you.
talking about, listen, depression and suicide. Want to let you know the What's Love Got to Do with It domestic violence event taking place on Saturday, February 15th from 4 to 8 p.m. at Christchurch Bone Hall. That's located at 524 Park Avenue on the 3rd floor. Now, also, a conversation about managing pain, anxiety, addiction and depression, and then suicide. That event is taking place on Wednesday, February 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Senator Luis Sepulveda's district office located at 900 Rogers Place. Now, if you are suffering from suicidal thoughts, please, you can call the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255 for more information. You can also visit their website at sisfi.org or on social media at SISFI. And don't forget about Brett's GoFundMe. All right, listen, taking a quick break. But when we come up, we're going to learn about some Valentine's Day events that you don't want to miss. We'll be right back in a few.
It's time to get serious about your future. At Bronx Community College, you can earn an Associate of Applied Science degree and become a medical laboratory technician in as little as 2 years. Earn an average salary of over $50,000 a year in one of the most rewarding careers in medicine. All you need is a high school diploma or equivalent to get started. Those who qualify can get tuition covered by grants and scholarships. So why wait? For program details, contact Bronx Community College today.
we are, Jerome Avenue, the heart of the Bronx. This is where I grew up. Business is booming, people are moving, everyone works hard. Nothing was handed to anyone here. I've been in here to take my passport pictures. I bought flowers here for my mother. Oh, this is where I get my smoothies, by the way. Continuation. This is what we call the O, 170th Street. It feels so Bronx. Hey, my man Fonzie. We've walked up and down the corridor, nothing but love. And I'm glad to say that Jerome is home.
Well, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. If you're looking for some activities to do with your friends or your loved one, well, guess what? We got you covered. The Bronx Beer Hall will be hosting several events this week celebrating love and friendship, and telling us more about it is the owner of the Bronx Beer Hall, Paul Ramirez, and event planner, Janelle Guzman. Thank you so much for being with us.
What's going on? How are you?
What's up, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know, but you're back.
Yes, always.
It's
always.
good.
Getting ready for the 3-day weekend, you know.
And it's busy for you guys, of course.
It's always busy. And Janelle's going to be hosting an event for us on Friday night. So,
on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day, yeah. So talk about your event, Janelle.
Yeah, it's a little different. We're bringing a live 10-piece band to the Bronx Beer Hall. And it's not your average Valentine's Day event. We're going to take away that pressure of, you know, having to be coupled up, or, you know, it's a little bit of everything for everyone. The live band will be performing Amy Winehouse songs.
Okay.
And we have a lineup of some really dope DJs bringing, you know, all kind of vibes. A little something for everyone.
Right.
Yeah. It's not just, you know, it's not just focused on this couple element. You know?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like in the last segment, we were just talking about no pressure.
No pressure, right?
Exactly.
Just come enjoy.
Have a good time, you know, beautiful Bronx people.
Exactly.
You know, good music, yeah. Bronx Beer
Fusion,
Hall,
yeah.
You know, the Bronx Beer Hall is all about a vibe. We're a market during the day, but at night it changes over to something even that's more inclusive.
Yeah, talk about that, because, you know, you have the market during the day, right?
So Beer Hall just celebrated its 7-year anniversary. This past February 1st was our 7 years. And in the past 7 years, we've just expanded into the space further. You know, while we're centered in this market and we have 10 separate vendors around us, all of our partnerships with these vendors have led to us expanding in our use of the space. And really focusing on large-scale events. You know, we recently had Tony Touch there. You know, it was a 300 plus crowd. Janelle's, you know, 10-piece band. You know, a 10-piece band.
Right. Right.
It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah. Now, I've been over there, but I want to ask you about the karaoke dance party. I mean, what am I missing?
Yeah. And you're missing a karaoke dance party, you know? It's like sitting with your friends at the jukebox and deciding, hey, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen, and everybody's all into it.
Right.
We've been doing that 7 years strong. So karaoke dance party this weekend, especially the day after Valentine's Day, you have the opportunity to come let it all out. You know? Let it all out. Whatever you didn't shake away on Friday night with Janelle, you're gonna come sing it out with us on Saturday night.
That's good. Great weekend. How long did it take you to put this event together, Janelle?
Well, actually, it was an idea me and my team had a couple years ago. Didn't happen. We didn't find the right venue. This year I was over at Bronx Beer Hall for an event. I'm like, damn, it's like nice little spot here. Like good vibes. It was the vibes. Yeah. You go in and you right away feel like, you know, this is perfect place. So shot the idea to Paul, and he was down.
I mean, you take it. You know, you're situated in the Arthur Avenue Market, right? You take your space and you've turned your space into a premier venue. What was the thought behind saying, listen, we're going to do a little bit more than just beer?
I mean, it's always been the idea, you know, with our founding company, Mainland Media, was always that the Bronx Beer Hall is an extension of our overall mission, and that mission is to be all-inclusive, right? The Bronx is New York City's proudest borough, and to be New York City's proudest borough, we all need a space to gather and really push that, you know, push that idea forward. And what better spot than the #2 tourist destination in the borough, Arthur Avenue on a whole, and then now to show what Bronx culture is doing today to all of the tourists that come around, like, that's what's important. You know, a lot of things are happening otherwise in other areas of the borough, and we're just keeping it real, just keeping it authentic.
I want to get your thoughts about my favorite meal of the day. That's called brunch. Brunch.
Yeah, it happens at the Bronx Beer Hall every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bottomless, you know, you get $15. Oh, I'm sorry, 20. Yeah, I forget what the price is. But 2 hours worth of drinking for you and your friends, you know. So brunch. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
100%.
So a lot of great things happening.
Yes.
So people want to attend. What's their mission? How does it go? Just come on through?
We're 15 at the door. You know, we
gotta support that band.
Support that band.
10
like,
guys.
these are real talented.
Nothing like it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a real talented band of individuals that work with several artists. We have one of the vocalists that just got off tour from opening up for Elton John. You know, the keyboard player played with Eric Clapton, and you know, the list goes on with the influence. So we're gonna really go all out with this one and bring that experience to the Bronx, to the people of the Bronx, and just a fusion of culture. You know, like I thanked Paul before for being able to provide these events and, you know, house these events and keep the culture alive in the Bronx.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. You know,
For sure.
congratulations on the great work. I know it's 2 years in the making, right? Good to have you. Good to see you, man.
Pleasure, brother.
You see me on my side, I'll see you on yours.
All right.
All right, listen. The Moody's Mood is for Soul is taking place on Friday, February 14th. Doors open at 7:30. Show starts 9 p.m. And the event, of course, is at the Bronx Beer Hall, located at 2344 Arthur Avenue. If you want to know more specifically, that's the Arthur Avenue Market. Now, listen, if you want to purchase tickets, moodysmood.eventbrite.com. And for more information, of course, visit their website at thebronxbeerhall.com or visit them on their social media at Bronx Beer Hall. All right, taking a quick break, but when we return, we're going to sit down with a health coach. We ain't really going to sit down, we're going to stand up. And we're going to stand up with our health coach, and she's going to help us to have some plant-based living. Be back in a few.
Did you know that brain and spinal cord tumors are the deadliest form of pediatric cancer? It can happen to anyone.
I'm not hungry. My tummy hurts.
You can help us be part of the solution.
Get in here. Hurry.
You can be part of our family.
It's okay.
Please support our mission today. Making Headway Foundation, dedicated to the care, comfort, and cure of children with brain and spinal cord tumors.
I was there.
I was there.
Yo estuve allí.
So many symptoms came on me all at once.
Shortness of breath.
I stopped sleeping.
I was getting laryngitis.
Emotionally, I was a basket case.
None of these issues did I have before 9/11.
The World Trade Center Health Program gave me hope.
You don't have medical insurance? That should not be a problem because the fundings are already there.
The doctor told me when I spoke with her, she says I could fill a room with people that sound just like you.
They were very thorough, very caring and empathetic.
When I left there, I had a plan in hand.
If you're sick because of 9/11 and its aftermath, the World Trade Center Health Program can help you.
There's no other place like this.
It saved my life.
Well, our last guest is a plant-based nutrition health coach offering monthly cooking classes where you'll learn how to have some fast and flavorful cooking plant-based meals. You got to find out how this can be. We're going to learn all about it. And here to teach us how to make a healthy meal for Valentine's Day is the owner of CB Health and Wellness, Dr. Cecilia Basbus, and we thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you to be here.
So listen, we're going to do this healthy thing, right, for Valentine's Day. That's your approach, and you really take the approach of having a plant-based diet because it's important. So first of all, why is a plant-based diet important?
Well, it's very important just to keep yourself healthier. So you need to be healthier just to be able to like thrive and then, you know, reduce your cholesterol. And if you have diabetes, you have to be, you know, healthier. And just also if you want to lose weight, it's really good for that. And also like if you want to have a good Valentine's night, it's very important to do a plant-based meal at least 1 or 2 days before.
Oh,
you know, it
okay.
boosts your like, you know, your like circulation and
Right.
it helps you healthier and like, you know,
Energy. Need more energy. Right,
A
there
lot
it
of
is.
energy. That's why we're doing some chocolate, chili flakes, and like some, you know, pumpkin seeds are very, very important for that.
So we have a couple of things we're going to do, right?
Yeah,
And
so-
so on this side, let's walk through this.
So on this side, we're going to do a rainbow salad with a dairy-free ranch dressing.
Mhm.
And on this side, we're going to do a chocolate mousse.
Okay.
With some chili flakes, so it gives a little bit of a kick.
Okay.
Okay, so for this one, what we're going to use is a green salad that's going to be here.
Mhm.
A very basic kind of green salad. And then we're going to put some kale salad into it.
Okay.
Just like that. The idea is that it has to look like a rainbow.
It has to look like a rainbow. Okay.
So that's why we're using all these colors.
Right.
So we have a little bit of carrots.
Okay, so we're adding a little bit of carrots in there.
Yes. And
okay.
then, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Some peppers.
Okay, throw the peppers in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Getting my green
also
on. There it
some
is.
tomatoes.
That's some tomatoes. Okay.
Okay, great. And then some mushrooms.
All of this, okay.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to do some craisins.
Gotta have the craisins. Come on,
There's a little
craisins.
bit of sweetness.
Mhm.
And some pumpkin seeds.
All right, got the pumpkin seeds going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That gives a little bit of the crunchiness. That's good.
Okay. Just like my kitchen.
So
just
like
all
that,
over the
yeah. So and then for the dairy-free ranch, we're gonna put like half a cup of what I call this
Cashews. Mhm.
Thank you. Some cashews, and then we're gonna put dill, dry dill.
Mm-hmm.
2 tablespoons of this.
Okay.
1 and 2, and then we are going to put half a cup of water.
Mm-hmm. So this is very quick, though.
Extremely quick. Like
Right.
in 5 minutes, you have it done.
5 minutes.
And then some maple syrup.
Okay.
So we're going to use 1 tablespoon of maple syrup,
Mm-hmm.
just to give a little bit of the sweetness.
Some flavor.
Some flavor.
There it is.
If no flavor, nobody wants to eat it.
That's right.
Right? So all you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
put it like that. You mix it, and you.
On the go.
That's it.
Right. And so generally these meals are very short in time to prep and make.
Yes, usually plant-based meals are very easy to do, and then this will go great with a portobello steak.
Ah, okay.
With infused with a little bit of balsamic vinegar. So you do that with portobellos, and then you put this in the salad, and it goes perfect.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so if you like to taste a little bit, this one is like that. It's been longer in the fridge,
Okay.
but it's a very thick kind of like dressing.
Uh-huh.
Mix it,
A little tossing going on.
tossing.
And so how, talk about getting your clients into a plant-based diet. How long does it take them to really adapt to say, okay, I'll make the crossover?
The first thing that you need to know is like you need to be sure that you want to change into a plant-based nutrition, right? Because there's going to be some, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a sacrifice,
Yeah.
you know, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to say to pass by like a pizza, you know, store and say like, I should have that, and then just say no. It's better for my health not to.
Right.
But once you understand, then it's going to be easier. But it takes like around a month just to be. To start having some, to notice some of the changes and to feel better and have more energy and like wanted to be like trying more new things.
So let's go over here real quick because we got some.
Okay, so for this one, what we're going to use is this.
And this is called what first?
It's a chocolate mousse.
Okay, I like that.
So it's a chocolate mousse. Everybody likes that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some organic tofu, but the silken one.
Okay.
Okay, very important.
The silken organic tofu.
Yes, the silken organic
Remember
tofu. And then we're going to use 3 tablespoons of cacao. This is dairy-free cacao.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we're going to have lime zest, the zest of 1 lime. And then we have chili flakes and some salt in it.
All right.
And then we're going to put, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we are going to put a teaspoon of dark rum.
Okay. Now some people say you need to put more in there.
More, yes. A lot of people put more. And then we're also going to put a little bit of maple syrup. We're going to put around 2.5 tablespoons.
Okay.
Okay. And that's it. That's all you need to do. But you will have to like have it in the processor for at least 2 to 5 minutes, okay? Depending on how it mixes. So like that.
So we got a salad going, we got a mousse going, and you say that takes about 2 to 5 minutes?
2 to 5 minutes, and then it will end up like this. And then you all decorate it with some cherries.
Oh, so this
and
is the
then
final
some
result?
Chocolate, yes.
Right, so this is the final result, y'all.
So you have to try it now.
I have to try it now?
Yes.
Okay, there it is.
And you tell me how you like it.
Okay.
It has a little bit of a kick, so.
It has a little bit of a kick?
Yes.
It's good, it does have a kick.
It does have a
little
kick,
bit.
right?
But very good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So it's flavorful, right?
It is flavorful.
So then there's nothing like, whoever will do a mousse will want to have like eggs and dairy and stuff like that. And this one has nothing like that. And it's very healthy and, you know, guilty free.
Right. So let's, before we go, talk about the benefits of actually having a plant-based diet, right?
So the main benefits of the
while I eat,
of a plant-based diet is to become healthier. You will lose weight, and the main thing is the healthy part is, so if you're a diabetic, your diabetes will get better. If you have high blood pressure, it will get better. You know, cholesterol will go down, and you will have more energy, and your digestive system will get better. So I think that's the most important thing of a plant-based diet. The losing weight is secondary, but you can definitely lose a lot of weight.
Oh, okay. Well, Dr. Cecilia Basbus, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
If people want to find you, where they find you at?
My website is www.ceciliabasbus.com, and we are located on 305 East 119th Street on East Harlem, on the basement level.
That's right. All right. Well, listen, we got to wrap up. CB Health and Wellness Vegan, Mediterranean, and Lebanese cooking class is also taking place on Friday, February 21st at 6:30 at the CB Health and Wellness Center. As she said, 305 East 119th Street on Suite B. And if you want more information, the services provided and tickets for the cooking class, of course, visit the website, CeciliaBasbus.com, or you can call her at 646-427-2584. Well, we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, you, the viewer, for tuning in. And if you missed any part of today's show, catch the recablecast at 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 33, anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And of course, you can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl Rena Valentine on Friday. Also want to give us a special shout out to all those watching on MNN. To my sister Ann, hey, how you doing? Listen, that wraps it up for us here on the set of Open. Daren Jaime, make sure to keep this channel wide open. Take care. God bless. See you soon.